Osoyoos Committee of the Whole, February the 19th, 2018 at 9 a.m. in Council Chambers. I would just like to call the meeting to order. And introduction of late items? No. So could we have the Committee of the Whole agenda adopted, please? Councillor King, Councillor Campbell, all in favor. Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, who normally phones in when he's away, is on the road today, we think, returning, so he is not able to call in. We have today two delegations, and we're going to hear from both of them. Our first delegation is from Cystic Fibrosis Canada, Gear Up for CF Bicycle Ride. And we have Sandra Niven, who is the Associate Fund Development Coordinator for Cystic Fibrosis, who actually drove up here from Vancouver yesterday. And so we thank her for taking, I would have, if it had been me, I'd have phoned and said, sorry, I'll come another time. However, we're glad that you're here and that you're safely here. So, Mrs. Niven, would you like to come up and do a presentation for us? Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor Makotov and Council. Thank you for allowing me some time with you this morning to speak about cystic fibrosis in your community. My name is Sandra Niven and I work for Cystic Fibrosis Canada. Part of my role is to support the volunteers as they fundraise towards finding a cure for cystic fibrosis. I was to come here with the mother of a small boy who lives in Osoyoos, but unfortunately he had to go to clinic, so he's unable to attend with me. They are unable to attend. Cystic fibrosis is one of the most common fatal genetic diseases affecting Canadian children and young adults today. There is no cure. It is a multi-system disease that attacks the lungs and digestive system. There are more than 4,200 Canadians living with cystic fibrosis, and it's estimated that 1 in every 3,600 children born in Canada has cystic fibrosis. Thanks to investments in CF research and care, there is hope. Canadians are living longer, healthier lives than ever before. In the 1960s, a child with cystic fibrosis was not expected to live long enough to go to kindergarten. Today, 60% of Canadians with cystic fibrosis are adults, yet more than half of them will not live beyond 39 years of age. There are currently families in your community that must make the journey to Vancouver for treatment at either BC Children's Hospital at St. Paul's or at St. Paul's. We support them through world-class research, specialised healthcare and advocacy. I'm very excited to announce that in 2018, Osoyoos will be a big part of our signature ride for the first time ever. This event is in its 13th year and to date has raised nearly $2 million for CF. Our Gear Up bike ride is happening June 23rd to 25 and will take riders from Vancouver to Osoyoos as they ride to raise funds and awareness for CF. This will culminate in a barbecue dinner and celebration at Poplar's Hotel on June 25. I would like to invite you all and encourage your family and friends to join us as we celebrate their journey. Some of the riders have CF, so this ride will be a very special celebration. And why Osoyoos? The ride has previously been 9 days, 5 days. The committee came together and thought that it's a volunteer committee that puts this on, and felt that Osoyoos was a natural stopping point for a 3-day ride. They've been here. There was quite discussion about it, and they all feel strongly that Osoyoos made sense for the bike ride for the 3-day to end here. In addition, we're also holding our annual Walk to Make CF History in Kamloops and Penticton on Sunday, May 27. This is one of our biggest fundraisers across Canada and has raised millions of dollars for people with CF in Canada. Participants from Osoyoos will be attending those walks or doing a virtual walk, which is where they raise funds and then they can walk around the water if they want to, however they want to participate. Lastly, I would like to submit a request to the town of Osoyoos to consider proclaiming May Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, and you've all received a copy of that request. Thank you for taking the time to hear about the successes and challenges for people living with CF. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to do my best to answer them.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming up and filling us in. Council, any questions? I had one. There's the month of May, which you're saying is Cystic Fibrosis Month. You also have a May the 27th, which is a special event, and then there is another event in June, which is the 3-day ride.
Right.
Can you kind of fill us in on what you're doing in Osoyoos, and is there somebody here that's taking over? Because you obviously aren't here for that. Is there a group here that's looking after things, or how does that work?
No. So the walk is across Canada, and anyone can decide to coordinate a walk or take part in the walk. So I included that as an informational piece. Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, the month of May. The reason I'm here asking for that proclamation is that, apart from its importance and awareness, is that it leads nicely into gear up to helping bring that awareness to the people of Osoyoos as well. The bike ride in June that finishes in Osoyoos, that is finishing at Poplars, and we're working with the managers there. My colleague Alison is working with them. And so we'll be coming up as a team and putting on the barbecue. So we'll be travelling with them and putting on the barbecue here.
So you're all staying at the Poplars then that night? Okay. And is there an expectation that a local group or people from town would take part in that? Or
yeah. So we've got the Kinsmen's Club in Summerland has a long relationship with us, and so they'll be coming and helping with the barbecue. And then I'm also hoping to meet with the kin of this local area to talk to them as well about how we can get involved. This is my first time up here, just kind of meeting people and,
Sure.
and talking to them about the ride and cystic fibrosis awareness and things like that. So, yeah.
okay. Anybody else? So we will certainly have a look at all of these things. This is not a decision-making meeting, but we would appreciate it if you would keep us informed as to what things are happening here and how what we can do, because we do like to support certainly health-related things is a big part of our mandate. So we're
and the families with cystic fibrosis, there you wouldn't know that they had it unless you know. So it's one of those things that sometimes they're quite happy to come and talk about it and speak, and other times they're it's very private to them. So
sure.
So perhaps in the future I can ask one of them if they'd be willing to come and talk to you too about their struggles living in Osoyoos and having to travel for clinics and things.
Sure.
Like that. So if you're interested.
Good.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Sandra. And our next presentation is from the Osoyoos Museum Society, and I think it's Matt Hassan and Kara Burton. Thank you.
Mary's got the wand.
Where is the magic wand?
Where's the
happened?
wand?
Your
I
magic
need
wand.
a magic wand.
Oh, I'm
to
sorry.
clue-
I've got it in my office. Do I need it?
Only if you want me to shut up. Good morning, councillors. Mayor McCordoff. You all know me. My name is Kara Burton. I'm the Executive Director, Curator at the Osoyoos and District Museum and Archives. Okay. The Osoyoos Museum Society was established in 1963 for the express purpose of collecting, protecting, preserving, and providing access to artifacts and information regarding the history of the Osoyoos area. Our society is governed by a volunteer board of directors. We now have 2 employees, myself and our museum assistant, Celeste Pio, who is a former summer student at the museum and graduated from Trinity Western University in 2017 with her Bachelor of History. We have 20-plus volunteers that do a variety of tasks. including front desk hosts, database entry, spring cleaning, basic maintenance, and a new volunteer who will soon be launching a social media campaign highlighting the museum and other organizations and events in Osoyoos. When somebody comes to me and says they want to volunteer, I basically ask them what their talent is, and I'll find them a job. We typically receive funding to hire 2 summer students through the Young Canada Works program, and our annual budget is approximately $100,000 depending on what grants we receive. Last year, in addition to our feature exhibits, we hosted a very successful Great Osoyoos Day of Adventure, a lovely wine and cheese evening for our members and supporters, and 7 open house events for the community. We began 2 new partnerships with UBC Okanagan. The first is with the Library and Archives to begin digitizing our own archives, which will be available on their website. The second partnership is with the History Department at UBC Okanagan, and what we're working on there is developing a 300-level history class that is a field study, so it will see the students, the class of approximately 12 to 16 students, coming to Osoyoos and spending a week doing their final project here, which will basically take a little bit of load off me because it'll be developing exhibits for the museum. We also have continued our relationship with University of Victoria. Last year we loaned a selection of the Incomeep Day School collection to the UVic Legacy Art Gallery. And then UVic invited me to attend a symposium to discuss residential and day school collections and reconciliation. Okay. We are currently putting the finishing touches on our new feature displays, preparing for the 2nd annual Great Osoyoos Day of Adventure, which will be held on June 10th, and completing work on our Go Osoyoos Walking Tour app, which will be released in May. We were fortunate to receive a $1,000 donation from the Osoyoos Credit Union at their launch event that they held for Vol-Inspire, and that money is being put towards a very fun program with the Royal BC Museum to give digital field trips to our elementary school. So basically, our classrooms will sign in at a scheduled time and get a tour of either a gallery at the Royal BC Museum, or they will get more of a one-on-one Ask a Historian kind of presentation. The first of which, I'm quite excited, will be this Wednesday. Okay. We've had many successes over the last few years, and we continue to improve our visitor experience and volunteer opportunities. We also have had our share of challenges, most recently our very leaky roof, which has proven to be a challenge to get anyone to look at it, let alone make repairs during the winter months. So you can see my horse trough, which I have lived with for the winter months, thanks to Francis at Home Hardware. Luckily, the leak is contained to one very big drippy spot. We have also had a number of the interpretive signs around town that have been damaged over the last 6 months. I went around and looked at them all 2 weeks ago, and of the 9 signs that we put up 3 years ago, 4 are quite significantly damaged. The one there is the one that's by Sonora Center and the elementary school. That one almost looks as if somebody put something corrosive on it. It's quite eaten away. There's graffiti on the 2 down by the marina, and then some graffiti that is scratched right into the one down by the bridge, and then some minor damage to the one. It looks just like a bicycle tire skid mark or something on the one down by Gyro Park. We also do need to update the one that was by the Haynes house to reflect that the house is no longer there. So of the 9, we know that there's 5 that need some work done to them, and we're waiting on quotes as to what it would cost. Basically, the text panels there, they're just big stickers, really. We're expecting that it'll be $100 to $150 per sign to reface them. And before I turn it over to Osoyoos Museum Society President Matt Hassan, I would just like to mention that this week is Heritage BC Week. So we've got free admission at the museum all week, and we'll be hosting an open house this Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor and Council, and again, thank you for the opportunity to come and update you. It's a shame in some respects that Kara did not go into more detail, because in the bullet points behind that lie some exciting new exhibits and good examples of how the museum is reaching out more and more to the community. My part is to update you on the project, the new museum project, and I shall be painfully brief. All of you have received a copy of the booklet, and there are extras here if you wish. Similarly, the two-side, one-page information sheet are here. So if any member of council would like additional copies, you're more than welcome to them, because they are a way of explaining to the community in a tangible and visible way what we're planning to do and how we're planning to do it. But under three headings, what we have, first of all, we have a very clear sense of place. We are Osoyoos, we are South Okanagan, we are Area A, we are the crossroads of Highway 3 and 97, and much of what we're doing is focusing on the Osoyoos Museum. We are not getting into areas, there are things that relate to a larger area. We're looking more at our immediate area. We'll have a centrally located building on Main Street across from Town Hall. We have community support, but we need to rebuild that because for some of us now it's been 10 years since we launched this project. And although some of us are getting longer in the tooth than is desirable, we still have a way to go and we will be successful. We have a fundraising plan which details how we're approaching the fundraising, how we're going to recognize donors and all those kinds of things. We have a practical architectural plan which allows us to shape it and phase it depending on how much money we can raise, because we can only spend what we can raise on this project. And we have a very exciting exhibit plan which will shift this museum in the community from a focus on the artifacts with some information to a much more focus on the faces, the voices, the stories, and events that have shaped Osoyoos, so that visitors and residents alike will be able to tap in to the message and the stories in the background. Where we are. The budget for the project, as Council well knows, is $2.5 million. That's $2 million for building improvements and $500,000 for the exhibit development. This will allow us to open the new museum, hopefully in the early summer, late spring or early summer of 2020, with a fully accessible operational main floor and an archive room downstairs. Subsequent developments in the building and part of the plan will come as funding becomes available over the many years that are ahead. In hand, and I know that Council is probably interested in this as much as any, we have either in hand or a confirmed projection of about $685,000 toward the project. Now, I recognize that that's only a quarter of what we'll need, but we're now 2 years out from gaining possession of the building. We're now in the window of opportunity to apply to major grant sources and so on. We have to be within that 18 to 24 month window. And so we wanted you to know that we have that. Now you'll notice the committed donations section at the bottom. We have already some commitments of donations, either in hand or commitments to give us the donation within the next few months, from individuals in the community with long-standing connection. In our case at the moment, a number of the people who are committing have asked that we not publicize their names. Now, they will be recognized on the Wall of Honor, but they have purposefully asked that they wish to remain anonymous for the moment. Others are coming forward and saying, no, we would be happy to be recognized. And so we are going with the wishes of the people who have talked to us about supporting the project. So that's where we are. What we need. Obviously, we need continuing community support. It's been a long time, and we lost some support when we were delayed in getting possession of the building. And we had people say to us, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. Well, we've assured them that it will, and we assure them that it will. But we need the continuing support of the community for our museum. So we need people who will champion and promote our vision. It can't just be the board or a handful of people. And so any opportunities that councillors might have to champion the project, it would be very much appreciated. We need you to also champion the project in terms of people you know personally who might be open to either approach by yourself or by us in terms of support for the project in ways that are possible. Volunteering time at the museum. Kara has said anyone who walks in the door who wishes to volunteer, we will scope out what you're interested in and try to find a way of including you. But there are also a number of ways to be involved in becoming a part of a committee or working on a project and so on. Because for the small handful of us who are there on an ongoing basis, there is much more that needs to be done that requires many more hands to assist. And we promise that we will not overtax anyone. There is no unreasonable limit. If you say you've had enough for the moment or you're gone for a while, that's fine. We understand. Fundraising assistance. Again, we need help to plan and promote and participate in fundraising events. Events in the community do not raise large amounts of money, and that's understandable, but the money raised is symbolic because it is local money going toward the project. And so we need many hands again to help with these, and events like the Great Day of Adventure and so on are all part of how we can reach out and make contact. We're in the process of beginning the application for grants at the federal, provincial, and regional level. And when I mention regional level, we've had conversations with Mark Pendergraft at RDOS, and he's looking into the possibility of some of the gas tax money going toward the solar panels on the roof, which is part of what we're trying to do. Similarly, we would ask Council to give consideration, as it goes down road with the Resort Municipality Initiative money, of the possibility of contributing toward accessibility in the building, because that relates to both visitors and residents alike. And so the power opening doors, or the accessible washrooms, or the elevator, which we think is essential for the long-term viability of the museum. And so we ask Council to simply consider that, because we are not coming to Council for support beyond what has already been graciously granted us. Donation. The donations can be in money, they can be in kind, goods and services, or local artifacts, because we have been told by many people that there are a number of artifacts in the community that people would like to donate, but only when they feel that they will be housed in a safe and secure environment. And so some of those very valuable artifacts, which if lost are gone forever, are a part of the contribution that will make our project rich. The bottom note, though, is one that I would like to draw to Council's attention. We're tied in now with the Canada Helps program, which is sponsored by the federal government. It's a secure online program that allows people to make donations online. And so we're going to be making use of this as a way of providing another alternative to people wanting to make a contribution, but perhaps a little leery about going online and sharing their information. So we're going to be promoting the use of Canada Helps as a vehicle for people to be able to make donations. But you can walk into the building and see Kara. You can mail us. You can talk to us on the street. There are any number of ways to contribute, and we need all of the assistance that we can get in that regard. And there is our vision. You've seen this before, you'll see it again. In fact, the reality is something that many of us look forward to intensely, because it will now be 12 or 13 years for some of us that we've been involved in this project. But our vision is 2020. On the 1st of January of 2020, we will get possession of the building. We will begin work. We've been advised that we need to be looking for a contractor at the beginning of 2019. Because the delays in getting contractors to be able to go into gear and to do a job are now, we're told, as much as 18 months in the area, we're going to have to look at the beginning of 2019 to try to secure a contractor. We are hoping that there is someone locally who will step forward and be able to help us and provide us with a good price. We would like very much to concentrate as much of the development of this building as we can with people from the immediate area. But again, we will have to pay the best prices to make sure that we make the money that we raise go as far as we can. So if you have questions for either Kara or myself, we would be pleased to answer them. It's not that you're unfamiliar with the project, but that we will keep you posted on the details as they evolve. Madam Mayor?
Thank you very much to both of you for presenting this to Council. I just think we are so lucky to have the two of you involved in this project because you bring great energy and vision to it. So we certainly appreciate you staying on for as long as you have, Matt, because we know that there was a time when you had thought that this may not work. So we appreciate your gung-ho ability to move forward on this. Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor Kordoff. Thanks, Matt. I have a few questions. Now that you're within the timeline to apply for grants, have there been any specific grants identified, big-ticket grants, that will have a big impact?
Yes. We've developed a list. It's a short list, and that's only because relatively few sources of money deal with arts and culture. But we're going to be applying to Cultural Spaces Canada, which is a major source of money. However, it's $30 million for the whole of Canada, and only $5 million of which is available to BC, Alberta, and the Yukon. But we're nevertheless going to be applying this year and next year and the following year in hopes of getting something. We've got a list of about 7 foundations and corporations that we will be applying directly to, and continue to look for other avenues as we talk to people in terms of other sources we might approach. We've had conversations with the MLA, albeit prior to the last election, and we are hopeful that she will be able to find some provincial money. So we continue to pursue those kind of avenues. But if you're interested in seeing the list at some point, please drop by the museum, because we'd be more than happy to share who we've targeted and what we're looking for.
Thank you. And my second question, the process in looking at a contractor, the RFP process, is that handled through the museum board, or what does that look like?
We will be working with our architect, Bonnie Madison, at the Coast in terms of assistance with that process, but it will be with the board of the Osoyoos Museum Society.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, we will seek advice from both the town and the RDOS in terms of technicalities and heads up and things like that. And we will engage in those conversations, but that's what we have in mind at the moment.
Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming and presenting this to Council, and you're welcome anytime if you have updates.
Thank you.
Okay.
Copies are available to Council members if they have friends or they want to know people that might be interested. Please come and see us. You'd be more than welcome to materials.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that is the end of our business meeting, and so I will entertain a motion to adjourn, please. Councillor Youngberg, Councillor Campbell. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you very much, everyone.